Antonio Rudiger has always been seen as a good, high-quality centre-back from his days to Roma and Chelsea. He was seen as a centre-back that was extremely strong and physical, had a good football IQ, and could also unleash a strike from anywhere, and it would have a 50% chance of going in. But I feel like since his move to 14-time Champions League winners Real Madrid, Rudiger has taken a jump from a really good, high-quality centre-back to arguably one of the best centre-backs in the world. From dominating Haaland over 2 legs in the Champions League to being Madrid's backbone and the leader at the back, Rudiger in my eyes is a world-class centre-back. But has this move to Real Madrid only shown more people what he is capable of, or has he actually improved over the past couple of years, and does he deserve the title of being a world-class centre-back? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Back of the Net here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. When the German left Roma after a pretty impressive 2-year spell with the club to join English giants Chelsea for a fee of around 35 million euros in 2017, Rudiger arrived at Chelsea with a pretty decent reputation. The 24-year-old arrived in England off the back of 2 impressive seasons with Roma, where he was essentially the main focal piece defensively for the club, and he was also a fairly important player for Germany, playing in 4 of their 5 Confederation Cup games, including playing the full game against Chile in the final, where Germany not only kept a clean sheet, but won the game and the Confederation Cup. And in Rudiger's first couple seasons with Chelsea, he played more and more games each season for Chelsea and essentially became, like he was at Roma, a focal piece defensively for Chelsea. Between his mix of pace, size, strength, and a nasty long shot that he had in his locker, it was impossible not to think of Rudiger as a good, high-quality centre-back for Chelsea. Rudiger also had a massive hand in Chelsea's 2020 Champions League win. Rudiger played the full 90 in 10 of their 13 games that season in the Champions League, including playing the full 90 in the final. And the following season, after their Champions League triumph, Rudiger and Chelsea were again really impressive. Rudiger ended the season having won both the UEFA Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup, and lost to Liverpool on penalties in both the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. And with the recent 2 seasons being very successful for both Rudiger and Chelsea, it was slightly surprising at the time that his contract expiring, he decided to leave London and join 14-time Champions League winners Real Madrid. The 29-year-old left Chelsea being seen as a high-class centre-back, and maybe even a few, mainly in the Chelsea fan base, looked at Antonio Rudiger as a world-class centre-back. And I mean, looking back at it now, I can't blame you for that. But just almost 2 seasons into his Real Madrid stay, he might actually be world-class, and the rest of the world also seems to think so. His first season at Madrid, he wasn't starting game in and game out, but he was a regular. But this season, with the injuries to both Eder Militao and David Alaba both being injured, Rudiger is Madrid's first choice centre-back, and he hasn't disappointed. Again, like we saw at Chelsea, Antonio Rudiger's mix of speed, strength, and size is so hard to deal with for any attacker. Rudiger absolutely pocketed Erling Haaland across 2 legs in the Champions League quarter-finals. Now, yes, Erling Haaland's weakness perfectly describes the player that Antonio Rudiger is, that being a quick, fast, and physical defender. I mean, for some reason, Haaland seems to be scared of contact. But Antonio Rudiger put on such a good display across the 2 legs that if you haven't already put him in your top 5 to maybe top 10 centre-backs in the world, then this display against Man City should force you to do so. Without Antonio Rudiger, as good as Real Madrid is, as good as the players that they do have, I don't think Real Madrid's season would be nearly as successful as it has been. Missing Militao, Courtois, and Alaba is not only hard on the defensive units on the pitch, but it's also hard on them mentally. Not having that leader at the back. Courtois is a leader. Militao is a leader. Alaba is definitely a leader at the back. Not having those 3 guys at the back is so hard. You need to have your leaders. But Antonio Rudiger has been such a good vocal leader at the back. And I mean, to be fair, Carvajal has as well. But with these injuries, Antonio Rudiger has not only shown his excellent defensive ability that we all knew he was capable of, but he also has shown his amazing leadership ability at the back. Rudiger leads the Real Madrid backline off both words, but also of example, constantly tracking his man, constantly putting a foot in, and being very, very clever when he does that. This season has been arguably Rudiger's best of his career, and that is saying something because I felt those last 2 seasons at Chelsea, he was so amazing. But this season in particular, I have been the most impressed by Antonio Rudiger than I think I ever have been. And over the past 4 years of his career, if you had to look at it, those last 2 seasons at Chelsea and these first 2 seasons at Real Madrid, it's really hard to argue that Antonio Rudiger is not a world-class centre-back and is not a top 5 to top 10 centre-back in the world.